Hey y'all, this is AL Think Madame and Cinnamon Sugar, and we are back for the recap review for Love and Marriage Huntsville. So I know I am very late, but I'm going to do the first episode and the second episode of the newest season of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Trying to play catch up, child. A lot has been going on. I have not been myself in the last few months, and there are unruly neighbors living above me, people who are not even supposed to be here, and it's been terrible. It's been a struggle to even stay awake to watch any of the things that I normally do recap reviews on. So I'm trying to play catch up, y'all. Please bear with me. I'm doing the best I can. Okay, so let me go ahead and get into it. So with this first episode, it came back and it literally started where it left off last time, where we saw Melody still at the amphitheater that they had just built and opened up. And Martell has brought the children so that he could actually show support, despite the fact that he has the kids for that week. So, I feel like that was big of him and that was great. But at the same time, I need for him to understand that Melody has been very, very hurt by his actions. So even though he's trying to make it seem like, okay, I'm being a bigger person, despite this being her, my week and doing all of this, you need to give her time because I feel like there will be moments where if he can behave, if you will, for the lack of a better term, that she will be willing to do the same if she's in town with the children. I know he felt some type of way about the book signing because the children were supposed to be a part of that, but at the same time, she had a death in the family and she was going to be out of town and she had to prepare them for that, and it was her week. So he should have said something and given more notice. So anything, I mean, and then he could have, like, when it came to that, I'm sorry, when it came to that, he definitely should have just had that on a week that he knew he was going to have the children. That made more sense. So moving forward, they seemed cordial on that date, and she thanked him for bringing the children. They even embraced before he ended up leaving back out with the kids later on after the festivities were done for that day, and they parted ways. So now we are upon the couples retreat, and Dr. Francis is there at the area that they're going to be holding it at with his wife. And I think Maurice and Kimmy got there first. They're waiting for everybody else to get there. The last to arrive is going to be uh, Letitia and Marceau. So before they got there, Tiffany got a phone call and she was like, I got to take this call. I have a call I got to take for my job. So she had already informed her husband that she had something that she had to do work related. And so in her mind, she kind of feels like, okay, this is the perfect opportunity. Ain't that going on? We waiting on the last couple to get here. Let me go take my work call, which is going to take a couple of minutes or whatever. It's going to take less than an hour and they ain't here anyway. So we might not even be starting until later on. So part of me understands what she's talking about, but at the same time, I get exactly what Dr. Francis is saying, which is that she does not seem present. For you already to come in the door, like, okay, your full focus needs to be on your relationship. You have all this stuff going on within your marriage that you want Dr. Francis to point out to your husband, but you're not seeing where you are fitting in that dynamic that is making it go not as planned, so to speak. So anyway, she got up, left, and he was looking like, the couples were looking at them like, and even though her husband, was here for it, and it's like, now y'all know, anybody who has ever had any deals with Dr. Francis, you already know he is looking at every single move that you make, and it is definitely an indicator of why a lot of the breakdowns are happening within your marriages. So you need to take heed of what this man is talking about. Like I just said, despite the fact that she already knew that this phone call was something that she was going to take because it's a part of her job, she needed to say, you know what, is this something that I can do before I go on my trip, or is this something that I can do after my trip is over with? Because you have to prove that you are 100%, excuse me, committed to this process. And when she went off to go and do that, she did not have commitment to it. Even the way that she left, Dr. Francis felt like if she had did it like slightly different, it wouldn't have been as bad. But she didn't. She was basically like, yeah, unfortunately, my husband know, and I'm finna go take this call. It just was what it was. So then we see Letitia and them finally pull up. But before they pulled up, y'all already know Marcel had no idea that this was going to be a situation where Dr. Francis was going to be involved. So I think Kimmy called to see where they were. And they were like, oh, we're not too far out. We had things mixed up with the babysitter, so we ended up leaving out late, but we are on our way. And so for some reason, she said something about Dr. Francis being there, or somebody said something about Dr. Francis being there. And so he looking like, what? Because, I'm pretty sure this is a situation where it's going out throughout the car. It's Bluetooth and the conversation is happening throughout the car. Now he know Dr. Francis is there. So part of me, had I not seen a preview, knowing that he was going to be there, this could have easily been a situation where he was like, nah, I don't want no parts of this. I ain't here for Dr. Francis like that. Like, you done set me up. This is sabotage. I ain't got time for it. I felt like he was going to clown. I ain't going to lie to you. He did come. But what we aren't seeing on the cameras could have easily been a situation where Marcel was like, I done told you. As soon as he got off the phone, it would not surprise me if he told her, I ain't here for that. Why you keep trying to set me up like this? Sir, you do realize that all these times that she has felt the need to set you up is because she cannot do it on her own. And anytime she has possibly tried to run up on you and tell you what's going on, you dismiss it as if it's just something else. And then she just has to work through it in her own way, in which it has not worked. So yeah, she be having all these issues going on. You don't think it's an issue, but it's definitely an issue for her. But in your mind, it ain't no issue. So anyway, they done finally rolled up. And when they rolled up, Dr. Francis was up there like, Letitia doesn't look happy. And when he initially said that, I thought, like I said, it was a situation where he pretty much scalded her in the car because of him not being aware that this was a real like couples retreat where he was going to be there. Not know, all the couples are going to get together and go out and we have our little moments where we'll talk about little things and that's it. Not us having a whole person here who has a degree that is going to talk to us about different things and catch on to little things that we're doing. So little did he know that unless this is just something that was just said to kind of, I don't know. I really hope, I ain't gonna lie, I've seen people lie for less, but hopefully this really is something that happened, even though it's unfortunate. She said that the reason why she was looking sad was because someone who she went to school with in college, they passed away suddenly. This woman had like a 2-month-old baby, had all of her kids were young. The husband is someone who had actually been on the show and had said something before and all of this, but they had been married for like maybe 5 years. They're talking about they had a great marriage. All of this stuff was great. They had like a thriving marriage and all of that. And she just suddenly passed away. So she was upset about that. So that was why she was looking sad and not because of anything that Dr. Francis might have thought was going on. So he can't, essentially scald them for being late now. He's going to bring it up in a delicate way like the next day in some other form, if he does bring it up. So anyway, they're there. So since Melody and Martell are not together anymore and they don't have any significant others that they are married to, of course they weren't going to be able to be a part of this experience. So we end up seeing Martell on the way to school one of the last days, if not the last day of the school year, to pick the kids up. So he went over to his mama's house to see if she wanted to accompany him to see the grandkids, and she said that she does. So they end up talking about Melody and how they haven't talked in a while. They used to have a really close relationship, but she just felt some type of way about Melody, and it was just a lot. And so he was just like, relationships can get better, whatever. So the kids seem to be happy to see her, and I'm glad. I'm glad that what drama they have had has not been rubbing off on the kids in that way. So that's been great. But yeah, she talking about she wish her the best. I think she was saying something slick about her mama or something. And so She trying to make it seem like she ain't here for it. As long as you understand that I ain't here for it, and I'm gonna block you. You know how Melody is. Melody will block you in a heartbeat. So she was just like, I ain't got no issues with her. She will always be my children's mama. So I love her. We had a great relationship. We ain't cool like that no more. It is what it is. So it is what it is. But anyway, so with everything that happened back at the couples retreat, um, everybody is now back in the room, and Dr. Francis is talking to them, and Marceau is in the confessional talking about, he didn't think that he was gonna be in for what ended up happening, right? So with that being said, he was, with everything that happened with Letitia's friend, it kind of put a lot of things in perspective. So now he's kind of appreciative for it in a sense. And I'm like, okay, if you say so. So now we end up seeing the Whitlows in the hot seat. And he's over here protecting his wife. And they basically are being very defensive, everything that he's saying to him. And she just was defending herself like, look, I'm just waiting on everybody else to get here. So I don't understand the problem. And Dr. Francis was like, no, you need to understand that with this situation, work should not have been the main priority, because her argument was that work is a priority of hers. He trying to explain to her, like, I understand that work is a priority, but you got a lot of stuff going on and you needed to have been present in this moment, and you weren't, because you went off to go and do what you wanted to do. And like I said earlier, she should have figured out another way to schedule that and just have it done before she came or after. Like I'm saying, or like at a different time when she knew, or whenever she knew she was gonna have some downtime, or whenever some downtime happened, if somebody was gonna be available, have open availability. See if that client or whoever she was talking to was gonna have open availability, because they have moments that we've seen throughout this, couples trip, uh, uh, therapy situation. They had little moments, you know what I'm saying? Not just necessarily at night, but they would have moments where they would just be off to themselves, and it just was what it was. She would have been able to do it then. But yeah, she ain't here for it, and they're not backing down. And it's gotten to the point where the other couples have jumped in and they've been like, we've had our moments with y'all. Y'all came in the door, guns blazing, trying to tell us how we needed to operate within our marriages. But whenever somebody try to tell you anything, you ain't trying to hear it. Y'all are on the defense. That's not cool. But everything was cool when y'all weren't on the receiving end. And now that even the fact that Dr. Francis is telling y'all what it need to be or what you need to try to focus on, you don't see it. So yeah, they talk about priority still. And it's like, girl, you talking about you want to have a baby, but y'all don't even have time. You working a lot, and he ain't getting it like he want to get it, and all this other stuff. And how you think this gonna happen if you already ain't got time, and y'all got a lot going on? How you think you gonna be able to bring a baby into the situation? This heifer gonna say she's always worked fine with chaos, and so they looking like, oh, so you fine with bringing a baby into a chaotic situation? Wait a minute, now this is too much. Now I understand that because of how you grew up, because people weren't present, it was a lot for you, and it was kind of normal for you. But now that those situations are no longer a part of you and you're present, let me put it like that, because they definitely are a part of her, she needs to understand that the focus needs to be different. He kind of had to put a little bit of what he had learned about her in perspective. About, ma'am, you've been divorced. You were a foster child. Like, you went into foster care when you were born. So you suffered losses. You didn't have your parents. Your foster parents weren't even there for you the way they should have been for you. And you didn't, you were already married. You already were married before you got with Lewis. And that ended up ending. So you had all these losses. So it's like, it seemed like it touched a little bit of a nerve. So I was like, oh, okay, then cool. Let's see if this really actually ends up being a situation where it's really going back to when Marceau first experienced Dr. Francis. And so anyway, they end up going forward with an exercise that he wanted to do, which was they were going to tie something around their legs, and they were going to have to walk around 15, 20 minutes together outside. And so I don't care how well Marcel and Letitia did. I just feel like I feel like they have this system. Like a lot of people who are in toxic, not that great marriages that are just long, they do. They just have a routine. They like, all right, we're gonna get out here, we're gonna do this. Because they do work out a lot and all this other stuff. That's beside the point. The thing is, y'all have learned to operate well. Basically, the best way that I can kind of describe it is that you're like a functioning alcoholic. You're used to it. Your body done got used to it, so it just is what it is. So they did well walking together, but you could tell that Maurice and Kimmy didn't do that great because at times it seemed as though Kimmy wanted to lead, even though that really wasn't what she wanted to do. It was just that she felt like the way that they were walking, he was trying to make her walk at a different pace and it wasn't comfortable. She just wanted him to readjust himself in a way so that it could be more comfortable. So it would be easier for them to navigate the walking situation easier. And then we ended up seeing the Whitlows. Oh gosh, it was terrible. And he would sit up there and kind of lift her up and walk. And it was terrible. They were the worst off. It was a mess. So they failed miserably because it's like, I think Dr. Francis said something to the effect of the reason for the exercise was for you to understand that y'all are married, but the legs that are tied together, this is y'all. But the legs that are free, y'all have things that y'all are doing outside of one another, and it was just a lot going on, and they didn't do well at all. And I was hoping that Dr. Francis was gonna just say that Letitia and Marceau, they were just operating from a perspective where they have just been together long enough and it just fell into old habits. And it's just like, okay, it is what it is. Now, Letitia does feel like her husband is the leader in their marriage, which is fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And it's just too much. Everybody else, it was just too much that was going on. And definitely as they get closer to the end of this couples retreat, they're going to see exactly what he mean because it's a lot. Randomly, they showed Stormy at the house, but I can't give it to I can't, I ain't got nothing bad to say about it because I was all the way here for this scene because she has a room that she dedicates to meditation and all of that. And she had these sound bowls. I want at least one. Yeah, I need sage. I need some Santa Paula. I already know I'm saying all that wrong. I need the authentic stick of that to sage where I live, to sage my, my space and all of that. And I definitely need those bowls. They can be very calming. It can ground you, center you, all that stuff. Even the colors of the ones that she had, it's supposed to signify the chakras and all of that stuff. Like, yeah, I told y'all I'm into a lot of things. Stuff like that was very interesting to me. But she has, found a way to center herself, and whenever she feels like she's not meditating and praying as she should, she tries to make her way to that room to get that done and to ground herself yet again. So they were talking. And of course, I wanted to talk about how great everything went at the event. So that was good. I don't know how much they're going to show Stormy, but she wasn't really in this episode like that. So it is what it is. And I told you I don't know how I feel about her type of a situation because it just seemed like she always would just pop up and situations would be happening. And it's like, girl, you have nothing to do with this situation. Why are you so headstrong? Like, it was just too much going on for me. So I don't know, but I liked her in this scene. This is like one of the few times I liked her. Like when she didn't say anything and let Melody use her home for her video shoot, that was awesome. But I just didn't know she was getting down like that and talking the way she talked and like was doing a lot. And I was like, oh, child, you got a lot going on. But yeah, I really liked this scene because we do need to ground ourselves and the meditation and all that stuff works. Whether you're into ritualistic healing and all that stuff, I'm trying to tell you, The regular meditation, the breathing exercise, all that stuff is very calming. It is very grounding. I'm here for all of it. But yeah, ultimately, also within that relationship, within that conversation that she was having, she was talking about the relationship that she once had with Martell's mom and with Martell. And, she's just hopeful that this is going to all lead to a right step, a good step, an amazing step in the right direction. And I hope so. She wants to get back on better terms, even though things probably won't be how they used to be. So then we end up seeing people responding to when they had their legs tied up. And the main couple that I'm going to focus on is Maurice and Kimmy, because it really stuck out to me. Because as I already told y'all, Kimmy is me and Kimmy, we here. So when they were in the confessional, she was trying to explain to him that she just wanted him to move a certain way so that it would free her so that she could be comfortable. He just decided to let her completely go because the way he was holding her, it was just too much. She just wanted him to kind of loosen up a little bit on his grip. And so she was like, that's not the same thing. I'm not telling you to just let me go. I'm just telling you that, I just want you to loosen up. That's just like when my ex, who coincidentally is the one who was from Huntsville, Alabama, at one point in time, when I found out when our relationship was over with, one of the reasons why he left me, okay, it was because keep in mind, I was working 2 jobs and I was going to school full time and we were in a relationship. So I'm still going to make time for my relationship. But one day when I was dog tired, he wanted to exercise. And I said, no, not today. In his mind, it was as if I said, oh, never. I'm never going to exercise. As much as I love exercising, like, why is that what you heard? I didn't say I don't want to exercise. I said I do not plan on and do not feel like exercising today. So he really tried to, he tried to try me. And I'm just like, boy. But it was the same situation that happened with them. That's why when she said that, I was like, wow, like, that's crazy. Like, it's crazy. Like, nobody is saying never. Nobody says it's never going to happen. Like, as much as I love exercising, why would you try me like this? So, yeah, anyway, the Whitlows come in, and they're, like, having dinner and all this other stuff, and they're talking, and just trying to explain to them how things are going, and they're talking about how they feel about the kids being gone, and it's the emptiness syndrome going on, and we already know what's going on with that situation. And Tiffany is definitely experiencing that and taking it hard because she wants to be around them all the time. They ain't here for it. They got a vehicle to go out and drive in, so they go with one another and go on by their business. Leave her in the dust. She loves being a mother, and she's just like, I want that. And in his mind, he's telling her, like, hey, because of everything that you've experienced, you always think that you being a mother and not having someone who's going to grow up and go away from you is going to always have a certain effect on you. It's going to have a hold on you. It's going to make it so that somebody is never leaving you. So even if your relationships and everything else does not work out, you, in your mind, it's like you're holding on to this notion of, if I have this baby, I'm going to have this person. They're going to be here. Her attachment issues. Her attachment issues, that's the issues that she's having. She doesn't want to deal with loss because she's lost so much. And it's like, I get it. I cannot relate, but I definitely can see where the connection is. So she's going to have to work on that because it's a lot. So then, like I said before, the couples were going in on the Whitlows again, wanting to understand, like, if you can't even please your husband when he want to be pleased, he over here talking about he ain't getting enough sex. Nah, he just deal with it. What make you think that since you already ain't got enough time to have sex with your husband, that you gonna have enough time to have a baby and all this other stuff? And like I said before, she said she has operated from chaos. Like, she's operated in chaos just fine. And it's like, girl, that's not how this goes. That's definitely not how this goes. And I'm gonna need for you to understand that you should want your child to not have to deal with that. she really feels like that's just the way it needs to be, and it should not have to be like that. You should not have to think that that's the way you need to operate. But yeah, it's the same thing as it was before. Reading them talking about how you gonna sit up there and try to give everybody else advice, but when it's time for you to receive it, you ain't here for it. But anyway, that was the episode. I'm gonna be back with the second episode's recap review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Thank you all so much for being patient with me, and still hanging in there, giving me a view and a click and all that stuff from time to time. I really do appreciate it. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you have not done so. Give this video a thumbs up and let's talk about it down in the comment section. Bye.